First Sunday of Lent. Lent is a time of a great journey, a time of challenges, a time of temptations, time of struggles, but most of all, a time of change and transformation. After Lent, you and I must be different. We must be transformed. How does this happen? So this is what I will be doing here for the next 5 weeks of Lent, which I call 5 weeks of temptations. I will be inviting you to join me on this Lenten journey, or I should rather say to join Jesus on his journey into the desert, and to make this season of Lent a season of renewal, a season of purification, and a season that can bring you from darkness to light, from death to life, a season that will transform you. So here's what I propose. Plan to join me here for each of the 5 coming Sundays of Lent. Let's reflect on each Gospel reading, and let's find out how during this season of Lent, step by step, Jesus will lead us into complete transformation, into the resurrection. Here is a quick summary of upcoming weeks. In this first Sunday of Temptations, Jesus simply wants you to slow down for a moment and to recognize and name your temptations. In the second week of Temptations, Jesus will ask you to pay attention to him, to listen, because he wants to talk to you. He has something very important to tell you. In the third week of Temptations, Jesus would like to accomplish a revolution in your life. Change it completely, clean it, and make room for him. Then in the fourth week of Temptations, Jesus will convince you that he is not your judge, but your friend and savior. And in the last week of Temptations, after this purifying journey with Jesus, you will be totally transformed. He will ask you to come out, and everyone will be in awe how much you have changed. They will be shocked by your transformation. Trust me, trust Jesus, and simply follow his advice. Are you up the challenge? So, first week of Temptations. In this first week, Jesus wants you to stop for a moment and think about your temptations and to name them. Don't make any big declaration just yet, don't punish yourself, don't be ashamed of the temptations, but simply try to see what is it that you are most tempted to do or not to do. Where is Satan targeting you? Because only after that will you be able to name your temptations, to point them out, then you can move to the next step of transformation. And this may seem easy, but naming your temptations is very tricky, because sometimes we are ashamed of the things we are tempted to. For instance, you may say, aren't I too old for that goofy stuff? Or why do I still struggle with this? I am not a teenager anymore. Or why did I take that without paying since I could easily afford it? This is silly that I still keep thinking about this or that. Evil will also try to convince you that sin is not a sin, that temptation is not a temptation, because it will then seem innocent and attractive. That's why it is so important to face the truth and point out your temptations. Name them and tell Jesus what is it that you struggle with the most. It may be silly, yes, you may be ashamed of that temptation, you feel guilty and upset, but don't worry about that just yet. On this first week of Temptations, go with Jesus into the desert and listen to Satan tempting you. Then write down those temptations or memorize them. We all are tempted, but not into the same sins. Our desires are different. I must tell you that I could never understand why St. Matthew in his Gospel noted that at that time Jesus was led by the Spirit into the desert to be tempted by the devil. Now I understand why. It is because Jesus wanted to know where Satan would hit the Son of God with his temptations. What is it that Satan is most afraid of? What does he want you to do or not to do? Think about that. Being tempted is not wrong. Temptation is not a sin. Temptation is only a weapon that Satan uses to lead us into sin. Again, this first week of Temptations, focus on your temptations. There will be a next step on the second week of Temptations. So let's go to work, and God bless you.